Talk Sport. Powered by fans.
And took it! What a goal! It's absolutely world class from Marcus Tunde! Wrexham against Jones. Get in! A terrific goal! Is there time for a winner? Is there?
Hello and welcome to another edition of Hello from the Other Side from the Wednesday week. This week we've got Sam joining us from the Blue Focus podcast. Evening, Sam, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, Ash. How are you doing?
I'm good. The football could be better, but no doubt that's what we're here for. So upcoming for Sheffield Wednesday up next is a trip to Birmingham, St Andrews, to face, I'm going to say it, Wayne Rooney's Birmingham City.
I knew it was coming.
It is. Everyone's into it now. It's got the Frank Lampard vibe all about it. But yeah, football's not been too great for both of our teams. Sam, has it?
Not really,
to say the least. So we're coming with obviously 1 win in 5. Yourselves are struggling as well with 1 draw in 6, I believe it is. But it was a good draw, 2-2 against Ipswich. So fair play for that. So I'll just start off. What's your thoughts on the appointment of Wayne Rooney? It's not had the best start, has he?
Yeah, it's one of them ones where as soon as Rooney was appointed as the manager, there was all this fanfare around it. You know, obviously it's a big name. What he'd done in his career as a player, absolutely fantastic. But obviously translating that into management, it's always going to be tough, isn't it? And obviously there was always excitement at the start when it was announced. It came at the expense of John Eustace, who I thought was a superb manager for Birmingham, considering the circumstances he was put in charge in. Say, for instance, sort of when he walked through the door last season, we were favourites for relegation. And, you know, a lot of people wrote us off, a lot of pundits, a lot of, you know, betting companies doing this whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, Birmingham are the odds-on favourites to go down. And as soon as you sort of mess around with the bookmakers, you're in for a treat then if it goes your way, because you can just rub it in and to go back at it. So last season was our best finish in 7 years. And it was a pretty good season because of the limitations we sort of had on the pitch, you know, only being able to get your transfers in, free transfers, loan players or whatever. But this season actually started off with a lot of backing. We've got new ownership now, fronted by Knighthead Company, which is owned by Tom Wagner. And Gary Cook is the CEO, used to be involved at Man City. He was the guy that was in charge of the whole Mark Hughes to Roberto Mancini move. The Abu Dhabi regime put him in charge then. So it's someone with a lot of pedigree in the game. And to start off the season, we've done really well, you know, picked up great results against Leeds, Bristol City, beating both of them without conceding a goal. And that was something that we really looked to improve this season. And we have sort of conceding less goals. And then comes the Rooney appointment. And there was a lot of turbulence sort of in the build up to it, you know, not knowing about the manager's future. And when, you'll know as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, when there's uncertainty around the managerial job, you know, who's going to be there for the next game, it just creates this whole uncertainty that you just don't need. And it creates problems you didn't have in the first place. And as you said, you know, Rooney hasn't started that well. It's 1 draw in 5 games and 4 losses. So it's not a fantastic record, really.
No, I mean, when obviously you got new owners and obviously the fanfare, not as much as Wrexham that we've seen, but, you know, the Tom Brady thing that he was spotted in a local pub in Birmingham and all that. It was like you could sense they was going to try and bring in somebody. And obviously, for me personally, I'll say I just don't get the Wayne Rooney loving, should we say. Like, I made a joke with Frank Lampard, and I'm the same. Both great international players, world-class players, and we've seen it. It doesn't always translate on the pitch for their respective teams. I think, forgive me if I've got this wrong, I think Eustace was 6th when he left his position. Birmingham was 6th when Eustace was, and now he's sitting 18th. It's quite a decline, isn't it? And obviously you've seen the form's not been there. Where was it a 50-50 with fans for Rooney, or was it this excitement that it was a big name player with limited coaching experience? Obviously, he's been in was Derby and then America. Was it 50-50 or was it the whole fanfare of obviously new owners, Tom Brady, the furore around that, and thinking obviously Wayne Rooney, good appointment.
It was one of the things where there was excitement because of the name, but there was more fans that were against the idea because of what happened to us back in 2016. I don't know if you know, when Gary Rowett was manager of Birmingham, and he had us sort of in a pretty steady position, back-to-back 10th place finishes. And that season, we were in the playoffs in December, I think it was. And he was sacked when new owners came in, and Gianfranco Zola was appointed. And a lot of Birmingham fans thought at the time, this move, Eustace to Rooney is very similar to what happened all them years ago when Rowett was replaced by Zola. And so far, it's been the exact same, where you had a manager that was getting results from the team. A new manager's come in, tried to implement their own style, be a bit more expansive. The board have used no fear football as one of the things they've said in their opening press conference. I mean, I can say for one, I'm pretty scared when I'm watching the football. There's fear coming from the stands, put it that way. So it's been pretty fearful watching it, but I'd say Rooney's tactics are pretty fearless. Whether that comes at the expense to us, so far it kind of has, because we're conceding much more goals than we had at the start of the season. The start of the season before Rooney's appointment, only Leicester conceded less goals than us in the league, and now we're just leaking goals. So it's not a great predicament that we're in, really.
Well, it's good to hear, because we're not exactly scoring many goals. So we've got 7 all season. So it's good to hear that you're leaking quite a few for us to turn into town and hopefully get a few more on our board, because Sheffield Wednesday at the minute are not the attacking threat that they need to be. Obviously, you see yourself sat at the bottom of the league and only scoring 7. It's not great. Is it been that much of a change since the style of play between the two managers? Obviously, Rooney's going to come in with his own philosophies and all his tactics and how he wants to play, and his backroom staff. Is it been that night and day? Obviously, with results, it seems that way on paper, but on the pitch, you looking week in, week out, Sam. Has it been that bad of an improvement, shall I say?
I think it's one of the things where the very first game you could notice differences straight away. We played Middlesbrough away from home. Middlesbrough are a good side. On that point, they're actually in a pretty bad run of form because they started the season pretty slowly, but they're picked up now. And when we played them at the Riverside, it was straight away a change of system. We went from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3. And we were playing players in positions that perhaps they were unfamiliar with. There was so much space sort of in behind us where there wasn't before. And I think the main difference between Eustace and Rooney tactics-wise is that Eustace used to sort of set up his sides in preparation for how the other team were going to play, whereas Rooney's kind of come in and said, right, this is the way we're going to play. We're not going to compromise for anybody. This is the way we're going to try and get out of this league by playing this way of football. And obviously, it's all good doing that when you're picking up results, but then when you don't and you're in the position we're in, it looks a little bit silly. So I think it may be one of the things now where Rooney's had a proper look at his team, had 5 games, knows the players a bit more and knows what to do with them, because it looked like in the first couple games, he didn't really know the players' best positions. They were moved around quite a lot in unfamiliar positions to the fans. But I think now he's kind of come in, had a bit more time to work with the players, properly know what positions they can play in and know their capabilities as well as their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, it was different for us with Danny Rule coming in. Obviously, Cisco Munez was awful. It's statistically the worst manager we've ever had, and obviously it's been shown in the table. But we've got Danny Rule's got 1 win in his 5 games he's been here now. But we can see a progression. We can see we've gone the other way to you. You've obviously lost a manager who's been in great form and gone the other way, where we've had a manager that's been awful. And yes, the results haven't improved as drastic as we'd hope, but the progression in the football has been a lot better. And on a week last Saturday against Millwall, obviously a 4-0 drubbing by Millwall, and it was good for the first 15-20 minutes. So we've flipped the other way. So obviously coming to Birmingham, I'm loving it. It's going to be my first time to Birmingham, St Andrews, so it's a new stadium for me, ticking that one off. As a fan of Sheffield Wednesday, and there's going to be a couple of thousand of us going, what can we expect at St Andrews? Is it going to be a warm welcome? Is there lots of pubs in the ground. Obviously, the away end you might not know, but is what to expect as a Sheffield Wednesday fan making the trip? It's not that far to Birmingham for us.
So this is actually going to be my first game attending when Rooney's the manager, because I went to a game earlier this season when Eustace was manager. It was a 1-1 draw against Millwall against our former manager, Gary Rowett. But first game witnessing Rooney in charge. The atmosphere, I'm not sure what it's going to be like. I feel like it's still in a position where it's not one way or the other, where like lots of people are saying Rooney out or lots of people are backing the manager. I feel like it's kind of at that even stage at the moment. And it's one of the things where if a result doesn't go our way, it could very easily, go very negative, toxic. Like if we concede an early goal, I think you guys will win it. It's one of the things where the first goal is going to matter so much to the game, because if it goes in our favour, the fans will get right up for it. They'll be doing the Rooney chants or whatever. But then if it goes the other way, then I'm sure Sheffield Wednesday will be chanting the Rooney song that all the fans have been chanting about Rooney and Granny. So we'll be doing that maybe, regardless of what the scoreline is. But we kind of expect it. We kind of hop on board with the banner as well. So it's fine with us. But whatever the result's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be a fierce game with lots of challenges flying in and a typical, championship scrap, as you would.
Yeah, it's the old gallows humour, isn't it? Everything's going against us, and obviously we've had it all season. And I've got to say, for our fans, away fans is fantastic. They really are. So the people that are lucky enough to get the tickets to come to Birmingham, you'll get a good atmosphere from the away fans. We still, like I said before, our managers only got one win, but 99% of fans, I feel, are still behind the manager. They know what dross they had before, so they'll be supporting. And like I said, it's the goals for us. It's going to be really. We've had the press conferences. The manager had a press conference today. I don't know if you've seen if Birmingham have done theirs, if Rooney's done his, but we've had ours. We've got a couple of injury issues up front. So we've got Malik Wilkes is out and Michael Smith, who's our leading goal scorer at the minute. So they're out. So I don't know. Is there any injury news, anything that you know of for Birmingham fans and obviously Sheffield Wednesday fans to know?
So Rooney has had his conference. He had it today. And the big emerging news from that is that Lee Buchanan's going to be back at left back. And he's someone that's been out for a while now. He got a training injury. And we signed him in the summer for a pretty small fee, actually. And for what he's delivered so far, Buchanan, he's been fantastic. And he's actually someone that's worked with Rooney before. He was at Derby County when Rooney was there. So they've got a connection beforehand. And it's going to be the first time that Buchanan's played in a Birmingham Rooney side. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on, because the fullbacks have been good this season, but there hasn't been a set sort of fullback system because players have been in and out with injuries or whatever. But now that Ethan Laird and Lee Buchanan are fit, those are two main fullbacks, and they're going to be featuring under Rooney for the first time. So that's going to be interesting to see. One that we've got out still is George Hall, who's a youngster. He's not played much football this season, but when he's back, I'm sure he's going to be electric, and he may feature on the bench on Saturday. It's not being ruled out, but he's being eased into the squad back gently.
So you just managed your wing. You're on about your left back, right back, wing back. Has he stuck with a 4-3-3 for the games he's been in? So
now it's a 4-2-3-1. He initially went with a 4-3-3, and it's one of the things where perhaps he's recognised that the players can't do the back and forth in a sort of three in the midfield. So he's got two holding midfielders with three playing a bit further forward, which I think is the best formation for us.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar to what we've set up sometimes like that as well, and it's hard because obviously we need to start winning. Of course we do. We need to start scoring goals. If you look at our stats for the last 5-6 games, it's been a couple of them games we've only had 2 shots on target. Under Cisco, it was horrendous. The possession percentages were like 30%, late 20s on some games. Danny Rule has managed to up that up, so we're up to late 40s, early 50s now on the last few games, which is great for us. But it's our attack. I don't mind saying it to you, Sam. Like I say, it's frustrating. It's frustrating where you're saying you're shipping goals. I don't think that matters to us because we can't score them. So it's got a 0-0 written all over it. It's got a 0-0. It's got a 0-0. How is it's a thing? what's your greatest threat, do you think, to Sheffield Wednesday? So you look at your Birmingham side. Where do you think your attacking threat, if it's going to come from your midfield, or if it's a striker that's in good form? So what do you think for us, as Wednesday fans, who's going to look out for? Thinking that, because obviously whenever I ask that question about Sheffield Wednesday, it's Barry Bannon, because obviously for the last 7-8 years he has been the talisman for Sheffield Wednesday. So for Birmingham, who are we looking out for on Saturday to give our abuse to? I mean, dislike to.
Well, I'll tell you who's going to get some abuse: Barry Bannon, because of his Aston Villa links. He always gets a hostile reception. So, I mean, regardless of whether he's in good form or not, eyes are going to be on him. So he'll get some sort of reception. But in terms of,
it won't be a good one.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But in terms of Birmingham players to look out for, it's one of the things where our attack, if you look at the personnel, it's pretty good. Like, we've got Jay Stansfield up top, who got called up to the England under-21 side by Lee Carsley, former Birmingham player, in the most recent international break. And he has been quality for us so far this season. And he's one of them players where, as soon as Rooney was appointed manager, you knew that he was going to get the most out of Stansfield, because they both played in very similar ways. You know, the way that Rooney used to play when he was younger, sort of very aggressive, dropping back, sort of link-up play. He'll encourage that from Stansfield. And I think the way that we operate as a sort of front four in this 4-2-3-1, it's very fluid. So Stansfield could kind of drop into the holes, whereas like a winger could maybe push forward a bit more. And because we've got now a lot of players available that we didn't have when Rooney took over, like Siriki Dembele is back to full fitness, he'll probably feature. Ollie Burke will probably feature for us. He's one of the players that yet to get his goal in a Birmingham shirt, but once he gets that goal, I feel like a few more will come after that. It's just a thing of confidence, you know, doing the right things, because he's getting in the right positions but not applying the final touch. And Koji Miyoshi as well, a Japanese international, joined us in the summer from Royal Antwerp. He's been fantastic for us as well. Very small guy, 5'5". You know, in the Championship, you could worry about him getting thrown around a little bit, and I'm sure there'll be a few fouls against Miyoshi in the game, but he's one that once he has the ball at his feet, he really can move quickly and help with the link-up play.
Oh, blooming heck. We're up against it here then with them, aren't you?
It's the defence, though. I'm not talking about the defence. I'm picking up the attack, but not the defence.
So where's your wink link then in defence?
Jeez, I mean,
where do you start?
It's just the gaps that have appeared everywhere. I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to sort of do this whole play out from the back thing. And you get caught out from doing that quite a bit. And we've got John Roddy in goal, who I think is a fantastic goalkeeper, you know, so much experience. But being told to sort of play out from the back all of a sudden, something that he's not really used to doing, it's a strategy that, you know, kind of doomed from the get-go. And I mean, we've already been linked with a new goalkeeper, but I think Roddy's just pretty good as it is. But obviously he's not playing the way that Rooney wants to in terms of playing out from the back and that. So I'd say that's our weakness. You know, if you can sort of intercept us, playing it around sort of in the defence, you could have a one-on-one opportunity straight away. So I'd say look out for that, really. And I'm sure that's what the coaching team at Sheffield Wednesday will be looking out for as well. We're looking to sort of pounce on the defensive mistakes. Yeah,
we've to be honest, Sam, we've had the same with our goalkeeper the last couple of games. He's made some errors that have led to goals, and one of them was playing out from the back. And it the other week against Bristol, it cost Barry Bannon a red card. Obviously, it got rescinded for the Millwall game. But we've got issue with our goalkeepers as well. Not everyone's a big fan of Cameron Dawson. And we've got Devis Vasquez, who's on loan from AC Milan, who since Danny Rule's come in has not really had the chance. So it'd be interesting to see if he sticks for us, if he sticks with Cameron Dawson or not. But I'm going to flip it then. I'm going to ask the question on the Sheffield Wednesday side, because this is obviously me talking to you, Sam, about who do you think that you've seen, or I know you've probably not seen a lot of Sheffield Wednesday, of course, but who do you think, obviously, Birmingham fans are going to be a bit fearful of?
I mean, straight away I have to talk about Bannon, because it's one of the things where he'd be the pantomime villain in the game. So, like, if he sort of gets like a set piece or something, or like a long range effort, you could just see it going in, you know. It's one of the things where it's so typical for us to sort of be in that position where we're booing a player, and then a few minutes later he bangs one in top corner and he just starts shushing us, you know. So I'd say Bannon's one of the players that I'm fearful of. I'm fearful as well from set pieces. I think Sheffield Wednesday do have quite a bit of an aerial threat, because I remember watching. I haven't watched much of Sheffield Wednesday this season, but last season I watched quite a bit of them when Darren Moore was in charge, and Sheffield Wednesday done fantastically, and obviously the game against Peterborough, which was just phenomenal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and that must be a highlight for you guys. So like seeing that game and the way it flipped at Hillsborough, you know, like the set pieces that you guys got. So I'm fearful of that. I mean, it's going to be a physical game. I think there's going to be, you know, a lot of rough challenges, as you said there, like the 0-0. It could be a possibility where, you know, it's quite cagey. So I'm worried about the aerial threat sort of coming from the back for Sheffield Wednesday, and obviously Barry Bannon as well.
Yeah, we as Sheffield Wednesday fans, we do see that. We've got Bambo Diaby, centre half, who's like 6.5 foot. We've got Dominic Iorfa, 6'4", I believe he is. We have got a presence at the back. It's just the corner. I can't tell you the last time we scored from a corner. I really can't. The one thing that's been levelled at Barry Bannon a few times is he takes the corners majority of the times, but his delivery from the corners is not the best. Struggles to beat the first man, or however they've set up for the corners. It's not been the threat that we want it to be. So I'm not sure you'll be, but
it's one of the things where like. It's one of the things where, like, perhaps you don't score many from them, but we look very vulnerable from them. Like the Sunderland game, the last game before the international break, 2 of their goals come from corners, and we just look dreadful at defending them. You know, I don't get, like, nowadays with the whole zonal marking thing. I just don't understand it. Like, I mean, I may sound like an old man here, but like I just don't get it. And that's something that has tried to be implemented. And if you look at the coaching staff we've got, you know, the fact that assistant managers are Ashley Cole and John O'Shea, like, you think with them guys there, our defence would improve, surely, like as they were as a player. But
yeah, well, we had Darren Moore last season, like you've said, who's a big, imposing centre half in his time as well, and we were guilty then of some of our defensive mistakes. And you're thinking, the gaffer is a 90s centre half, you know, don't take no shit, and everything like that. And some of the defending that we've been guilty of last season, and even again this season at corners. We've been found out, so it's probably something that we've got to improve on both defensive and attacking. It really is. It's a strange one. Everywhere around the pitch, mate, we've got to improve, and we've got to improve start on Saturday, because table doesn't lie. We are where we are, and it's bad times at Hillsborough. I'm gonna we're gonna start wrapping up, Sam. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask for a little rundown of how you think the game's gonna go, and then a prediction at the end. So just imagine we've kicked off. It's 3:00. Just a quick overlay of how you think the game may go.
So, that's a difficult one, actually, especially because I'm going to the game on Saturday as well. Like, I'm going to be picturing it in my head. Like, I remember the prediction I did on Ash's channel, and it's not going completely to plan.
And then whoever sat next to you, your mate or whoever, has gone, you know what you said the other day? I'm watching that, and it's not going. You were totally wrong, or you may be totally right. So I'll let you go on, Sam.
So I'm going to say, first half, I think both teams will score in the first half. So I'm saying we'll probably score first. Everyone will get optimistic. We'll start doing the Rooney chants. 10 minutes later, you guys will score from some sort of, I don't know, set piece, I'm calling. Even though you guys haven't scored from a corner in a while, it tends to be against us where teams need to break these patterns or whatever, or like records. So I'm going to say you guys are going to score a set piece goal just before half time, go in at 1-1. It's going to be pretty cagey. Both teams don't want to lose it as such, but then we may get a bit of magic from the bench. So I'm saying a 2-1 win for Birmingham.
Ooh, 2-1 win for Birmingham. Oh, all right, okay. I don't like it, but I'll respect it. I don't like it, but I'll respect it. Hold on, yeah. I'll give you my prediction. I think it's going to be a 1-0. I say 1-0 for every game this season virtually. I've said a 1-0 Wednesday win, and obviously we've only managed 1 win all season. So
which is 2-0. Even more.
Which was 2-0. I know, and only scoring 7 goals. 2 of them were in one game. We're doing well out of 16 games. I'm going to go 1-0 Wednesday, and I am quite pessimistic. Is that the word? Optimistic, sorry. And I do want Wednesday to win, of course I do, but I know it's going to be hard, and from every game from now on. and unless we get into a bit of a routine, it's going to be hard. I'll take an anything 1-0. If it's the first minute and we sit back for 89 minutes, or if it's the 89th minute when the goalkeepers come up and nodded one in, I'll take it. I'll take 1-0, mate. It's got to be. But we'll see on Saturday, won't we? We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. It's getting for Sheffield Wednesday a must win, and probably I'll not say it's a must win for Birmingham, but I'm sure Rooney, especially at home, will need to get that win soon because,
absolutely,
like you said, the fans will start, instead of being very like 50-50, it'll start going 60-40 out. Then it'll start with every game that he doesn't get a win. It'll start going. So obviously bad times at Birmingham for Rooney at the minute. Sam, anything going on your podcast, the Blues Focus, that we can we're looking forward to listening to, or anything? If Wednesday fans fancy a bit of entertainment on the way down to Birmingham on Saturday, is there anything going on?
Well, we'll be recording the video straight after this with our preview looking at Sheffield Wednesday side of things. So we'll have that, and then also we'll have Tommy's vlog up on the weekend from the game. So there'll be sort of a view from St Andrews from the home end that the fans can check out. And I'm sure if there's away limbs, get a good look at that there.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better, is there, when there's a video?
It's when they film it on the other side, and you just see all the fans going mental.
Yeah, so we will look forward to seeing that on Saturday at 5 o'clock or whenever it gets released, Sam. But thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's great to talk about Sheffield Wednesday, even though it's not the best of times. But thank you very much for listening, watching. Hello from the other side. It's brilliant. Tune in, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Thank you very much.